Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Bite Size Podcast. I'm your host Clayton, and I am joined by Uncle Mike as always. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How's you?
I'm good. First weekend not in the country. So having to watch the Arsenal from abroad, but as you know, I wasn't able to watch the game. So for those listening on audio, obviously it's a double whammy. This one we're going to review the Forest game and we're going to preview the Athletic Club. Yeah, they're not called Bilbao anymore, are they?
No, I just thought I put the thing on X, and then I just like, oh no, it's Athletic Club or something, isn't it? So
yeah, and also didn't realize we obviously played them in pre-season, but we've never played them competitively. So
no.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's not many teams across the continent that we come across where I feel like we've never played them before. But I feel like on the back of the international break, we obviously went into it 1-0 defeat. I think that kind of, I wouldn't say divided the fan base, but there was definitely split opinions going into it. Dwelling on that result. We spoke on Friday's preview about just wanting and wishing a game to be there for us to just fix it, and fix it we did indeed. I didn't watch the game. I caught all of the extended highlights. I've watched every bit of content I can. It sounds like it was a bit of rolling it back to the Wenger days.
Yeah, it was. It was a nice. It was almost, apart from the Odegaard injury, that was a downside. But it was almost a perfect weekend or perfect game before your Champions League opener, with your ability to rotate and rest players and watch the front three gel in front of our eyes. So it was a very good afternoon. And what sort of transpired was our Ange prediction sort of came true, where he was sort of stuck between. Obviously, it's very difficult for him, so let's not go too hard on him, even though he's a prick. But it's very difficult for him to come to Arsenal with after 2 training sessions and decide what philosophy he wants to play. So, yeah, apart from that, it was all good on our front. Lots of positive stuff.
On that, him being a prick, have you seen his post-match? I can't remember if it was post-match or pre-match where a journalist, I want to say from the BBC, just made a normal comment of like, "You look well, you look rested," and only he could take offence to it. Have you seen it?
No.
No. The guy, the
so
journalist,
Ange.
Pardon?
Is it so Ange?
Very. So the journalist is literally like, "Oh, you look well, you look rested," and Ange kind of like raises his eyebrows a bit. He's like, "Well, usually if someone looks well or rested, it means they're out of a job, mate. So good to be back. I'd rather be looking pale and this." I was like, "How do you take offence to that?" I've never understood
off the bat as well. Straight off the bat. Oh my God.
I've never understood this nice guy gimmick with this guy. I think he's a prick.
He's so snarky, isn't he? He's so and the beautiful thing is, it's just going to get worse. So we're just going to watch it all again. I mean, it's obviously it's not hasn't the effect because he's not in charge of the football team that we hate. But he's a marked man now for me. He'll always be a prick, and that's it, mate. That's life, Ange. So. Yeah, enough about that fat prick. Because if you just compare him, we've done it before, but if you compare him, Arteta gets a lot of stick, and I know we're extremely biased, but did you get round to watching that documentary? The
leadership one. So for people listening, Uncle Mike sent. I'm sure a lot of people would have seen.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah.
Super Mikel Arteta was on a podcast with Stephen Kerr, I want to say, where it was like a leadership one, and I'm guessing you were going to say there was something from there that you wanted to reference.
Well, that was just a difference of you watch him talk, Arteta, and there's just a massive difference in the personality. But I think we can see what Arteta talks and how he talks and inspires, and a lot of opposition fans don't see what the angle that we see him from. And I just see the comparison between Ange's perspective in the media as the good old nice guy, and then you've got Arteta sort of the evil villain with Lego head. So
yeah, I think there's 2 things on that. One is, I mean, you and I have said it for ages. We feel like he's so unfairly but inaccurately painted within the media. And the second is like James actually said this on Planet FPL last week or whenever the main pod review was after our defeat to Liverpool, where he said like it was a narrative-driven analysis around Arsenal that was far from the truth. And I think Clive from the Arsenal Vision has said like we're one of the most poorly analysed team around. I think that you combine the three, I really feel so strongly about it that I don't know. Like there were periods in this game where I don't know if this would get picked up in the general media and stuff, but like it looked like an absolute clinic. And we'll talk about some of the individual players in a bit. But I really like this is a big claim, but I do believe in the first phase of play and how we progress to the middle and final third, we're one of the best in the world at it. Like, I don't think people consistently get to the areas we do as much as we do. And fair enough. I'm hoping that this season there's going to be a slight change in us converting and actually making something of it, which we'll probably get into.
Mhm.
Like our build up is unbelievable. I saw some of the rotations on Saturday. I know, sorry, so Uncle Mike did send me like some nice passing network graphics and stuff, and I haven't put them together for this episode. But if anyone wants to go check out Spot J Willis, he always puts great stuff together. Cannon stats, like the symmetry in our build up in this game was unbelievable, and the rotations. You see Calafiori picking up the ball in like central midfield, like on the right area. Sometimes you see Eze drifting on the left, coming in field. You see Gyökeres moving from left to right to combine with Madueke to smash it off the post. And I just think you see Timber picking up the ball in areas that Odegaard should. You see Waneri coming on for Odegaard, dropping deep. He's receiving the ball back to goal. And he's like a single pivot. I really think we're such a poorly analysed football team that it really drives me mad. But it makes me feel kind of quite grateful that we have a platform where we can kind of get it off our chest each week. And I don't know, I'll let you take it away with the actual game, but I thought there were periods in it as that were an actual clinic. Before I let you take it away, actually, can I share one thing? I had my first period of like, I wouldn't call it homesickness, but it was Arsenal sickness. So I couldn't watch the game because I was physically coaching myself, and it was like, I think it kicked off 7:30 a.m. US time, and I want to say I was in the car at that time. So I had it like plugged in, listening to it on the stream and stuff, and I heard the noise of the crowd, like everyone coming out, and then I heard the Angels sing. I was like, "Fuck!" Like it really. Like I think that was the first one that really got me.
Of
and
course.
like, yeah, I'd call it Arsenal sickness. It's not homesickness, but that's the first time my stomach sunk a little bit, and I was like, "Oh shit, I missed this."
Yeah, and then especially it's 12:30 kickoff. You kind of know your routine, what you would have been doing in your head, and you're like, I would have been here. I would have been here at this time. I'd be with this person. I'll be doing this. I'll be seeing them, and that's hard. And that will only get obviously easier. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the lineup?
Well,
we'll start there.
I think that no real dramas or shocks, but no one predicted Rice to be rested, right? And I think it's one of them. When I saw it drop, I was like, do you know what? That makes sense. I want to say he got 180 minutes for England. Marino obviously scored, like you said, the 4 goals in 2 games. He's riding a high. Arteta said something really interesting in his pre-match presser, which I wouldn't say he's hinted at this before, but he basically, I want to say it was pre-match or post-match. I can't remember. It was one of them. But he basically said, when we've got players in a good rhythm, in a good moment, I want them to play. So that's going to be one to look at, I think, going forward when we're looking at what's the rotation between Champions League, Premier League and stuff. But that kind of fed into, I think, Marino starting. And I think maybe this is something we've got to get used to. We've got the depth now. And yeah, to your point, no one predicted it. But when I saw it and I reverse engineered it, I was like, do you know what? It makes sense to me. And for me, it's such... I love this journey because, again, people from the outside will just look at the outcome of trophies and stuff. But I remember little things like, do you remember Luton at home 2 seasons ago? We rotated a few players. Smith Rowe came in, and it was a very stodgy. It was a very stodgy performance.
It was because you could see the drop off of that's 4 players were nowhere near the level or had the relationships of, and then you're almost judging players like a Smith Rowe to say, oh well, what would it be like if he was playing with 10 out of the 11? So you're judging players by the 7 or the 7 solid, but then you were bringing in a rotation player, and they were hardly it's unfair to judge them on that. And that it was for me, it was a vindication of our transfer policy this summer of depth over there's a school of thought. We go back to it. There's a school of thought. Should we have just gone for Isaac, all in, like 150 mil? You've got a certain amount of money and transfer, and we had that profile that we needed to fill with the striker and a left sort of sided player. So you could have gone, right, we'll go Isaac and obviously I'm not including Zubimendi here, but so Isaac, Zubimendi, and one other, say an Eze,
Yep.
And that was around the same amount of money that you spent across and plus put into that as well the saga that Liverpool had to prize Isaac out of Newcastle, which actually only happened on deadline day, and then you would have been in a bidding war with Liverpool. So, and you could have lost out on deadline day, and then all your transfer is just gone. Then you are getting Jamie Vardy on a loan on deadline day. You know what I mean? So yeah, so your whole for me, I mean, we can put that to bed, that whole with the right thing, because now every bit of analysis I've seen after this weekend hasn't the fact that we had that squad alleviated our fears of these injuries that we've currently got, that we're going into games where you are not shitting yourself at City this week, and we'll come to that later in the week, possibly without Saka, without Saliba. I think Saliba will be back, and you could even see maybe Saka back, but maybe not. But you're going into these games. The loss of an Odegaard last year totally derailed us for 2 months. Our rhythm was gone. Now where he comes in, had a very good game.
Yeah,
for an 18-year-old in that position, driving forward, because he came in against Leeds and he was okay, but I think he was just finding his feet in that position. I think this performance was a lot better than the Leeds performance. So yeah, it's so encouraging that we can rely on these squad players, and they all stepped up as well. That was the really nice thing. So and if we want to go on to Mosquera, what a player! He was our most passes came from Mosquera, 86 passes. I think a lot of them were the defence or the third in the final third, and he seems to have, they've trusted him now that he's doing that build up role, six dribbles or carries. So and you could see him, and he was dropping, and where he was dropping in deep as a spare man, and he was passing to him. There's a little bit there with Zubimendi. They built up a nice relationship, and then it was the ball out to Madueke, so who we need to talk about as well. So yeah, that right hand side was purring, and it was really lovely to see. So he is one hell of a player, and that's why
13 mil, wasn't it?
And the ability to rest Saliba, and as we said before, not rushing back. I think that's always been our problem, where we could have just done within an extra few days, but we've got a huge game on the horizon. It's like we as a fan base, we're not able to cope before with these absences, and now I think we're learning to relax. You still know not Saliba, but the quality drop down is a lot less than it has been previously.
Yeah, it's not Rob Holding, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
and like we both loved him, but like this guy, even we'll touch on it later. We're obviously going to do our predicted 11s for Bilbao tomorrow, but Mosquera is another one. Like he knows them. We signed him from Valencia, signed him from the Spanish league, so he'll know him. I reckon he'll play again. No need to rush Saliba back. Have him in Cotton Wall ready for Sunday against City. And I just think and even a bit of a domino effect, obviously. Well, it's not obvious, but I think I saw on Twitter that Ben White hasn't trained ahead of Bilbao. And
oh, really?
I may have that wrong. I feel like that got shared in a group chat. But if that is the case, it's another one where we saw Mosquera in pre-season. He deputised that right back for a bit. So can we play him there to give Timber some minutes off every now and then? Like we've got Hincapié. We've got, I know we're talking about lefties now, but like we have got abundance of depth. And I think the reason I brought up the Luton thing was, I didn't really finish that point. That was a stodgy performance. You look at Saturday, where let me get the lineup in front of me. So we have no Saliba. So Mosquera comes in there. Marino comes in for Rice, our record signing. Yeah, Declan Rice, just not even in the starting 11. As you say, brand new front three playing together for the first time. Our captain goes off injured again. I want to say it was within the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
when Eri comes in, and there's no level of disruption. If anything, I feel like we kind of looked a little bit more cohesive. Yeah. And the level of this football team, it's scary to think that this is middle of September and there's that level of understanding across all zones, all areas. There's new relationships. With this depth, I do back us really, really confidently to tackle a lot of different scenarios that will be thrown our way, even with injuries. Let's hope we don't have the same volume of injuries as we did last year.
Or one per game, but we're going at the moment. So
yeah, literally. But like, just brings it on nicely to, you touched on Mosquera there. I mean, I know I said I don't have the usual graphics that we provide here, but I've got the one from Mark, our stat spot, on my phone. And it's the X and Y axis of like the progressions via carries and passing. And you mentioned it already. Would you say he did 6 dribbles or something, Mosquera?
Yeah, 6 carries.
For progression via passing.
Yeah,
but even for the passing one, I know you spoke about a lot of it was maybe short and sideways, but Saliba's usually the guy hoovering that up, and Mosquera's just slotted in. He's in the top far right of that axis, so he was our high volume passer and carrying along with Gabriel. So really, really impressed by him. And you spoke a little bit about the relationship on that right-hand side. Yeah, Noni Madueke, take a bow, son. Take it away with him. What a performance.
I'm so pleased. And you know what? The thing that was really pleasing for me, and I think you would have loved it, was the ovation that he got as he came off. Because we've always said it's the fan online discourse is a lot different to then your fan going. And I'm not being one of those that they're not. I'm not saying they're real fans, but there's an awful lot of noise online, and I don't think many people in that stadium would have been signing any petitions about Noni Madueke. So, and he was, and it was so nice to see that he's getting that more confident. He's building up a relationship down that right hand side. Timber, I saw a bit of analysis, and it was quite interesting that Timber was sort of stayed away from Noni Madueke and didn't go into his zone and just sort of dropped back and let Madueke do that, because he doesn't need an overlapping fullback, Madueke. He wants all that space to himself. Yeah. So, which is different to how, again, a different dynamic to how we play. And that, again, maybe going forward tells us something about you don't necessarily need a Ben White to play with Madueke, because they'll get in each other's way. Or Ben White would have to do it, slightly drop back. But yeah, it was so encouraging to see. The thing I do want to see, though, and it will come, is end product.
Okay, I feel like that's harsh. Go on.
No. I'm not. I'm a really big fan. I'm just saying, if you compare him to Eze, who we could talk about as well, who was very impressive as well, and I think he needs a little bit more. It's the contrast of styles, isn't it? He glides across the pitch, slows it down a little bit, speeds it up a little bit, wants to go in between players. Again, there was that move, there was that really nice move between the three of them where
he flicked it to Marino.
Yeah, there was a Marino one, but there was also the one where it included all three of them, and Gyökeres ended up pinging it against the bar.
Yeah, it was Eze to Gyökeres.
With a batter shooter shot. It was, and if that had got in, mate, that would have been one hell of a goal. So, what I mean by that is Eze, lovely ball by Calafiori. That was a beautiful.
He's done that before, hasn't he? I feel like he did that.
He done it. It was for the Forest game. The Leeds game, and there was no coincidence. It was 2 minutes after half time. Well, that was 45 seconds after half time.
I can't even remember who scored
the Leeds game. That was Gyökeres' first goal. So when he played it down the line and he ran onto it, took the ball, and then he shot in on the right and he put it away.
It was Calafiori 2 minutes after. Yeah,
2 minutes after. So they get a rocket up their arse by Arteta. Right. You've got to feed Gyökeres, right? This is how we feed him, because he was quite anonymous in the first half. And he's one of those where, and we've spoken about it in the past, our eyes have got to get used to watching him with a filter of he's going to have 7 touches and he's going to score a goal and he's going to hit the post, but he's not going to do. It's a bit harsh, but it was a couple of nice flicks. but we keep saying he's not your silky striker that's going to glide across the pitch, beat 4 men, and put it in top bins, but like a Thierry Henry or whatever. But that's not what we need at the moment. I see so many analysis. Oh, he's not a very good footballer. I said, I don't give a shit if he's a good footballer. I just want
put it in the back of the net, son.
Just to score goals. And that.
Sorry, go on.
Go on, man.
No, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or I've not really been on the socials, but I spoke a lot when we got him about certain strikers being so important because they make a run that forces a pass. Eze made the great run that forced the pass from Calafiori, and Gyökeres' movement I don't think we score that goal without him, just because he puts himself in the position where you're begging for the ball to be put across. And I don't want to throw shade on any players that didn't start, but like Martinelli, I'm not convinced makes that pass either, to be honest. It's great from Eze, and I think this is the thing that I landed on, like this belief last year that kind of touched on it earlier. I believe we're one of the best teams in the world at playing through the thirds to arrive in the final third, and we were just lacking a little bit of individual brilliance. And I think it's funny you say for Eze was like really good. I've seen some mixed opinions on him, but I don't think that's anywhere near what his best will be for us. And despite that,
not at all.
He drops a shoulder on the touchline, sits someone on their ass. He's combining in different areas. He's got an assist. Madueke, I mean, but if Saka's not around, I used to always feel concerned about what the alternative was. Whereas now I finally feel like on the right, is he Saka? No, but he brings something so unique to the table that will genuinely help us. His ability, again, to drop the shoulder, go both ways. He feels so comfortable on both feet. Drive to the touchline, do a little shimmy to sit someone down, to buy yourself a second to then put it in. And I think the reason I found the end product thing a little bit harsh was if Gyökeres' shot goes in, that's his assist.
Yes.
And he laid it off for Timber. Well, I know it wouldn't have been Madueke's output, but the other one for Timber to rise. I think if he plays like that week in, week out, he will be in the goals and assists. Not
I think my point was that Eze, you said it, Eze was, you've seen some ways good or bad game. I think he had a 7 out of 10 game, but he still got an assist and so he registers those G's and A's, and I don't want to go into too much of the Chelsea thought of mind, and I do because I do believe they're just quite bitter about it. But I've heard Chelsea fans say, "Yeah, this is what he does. This is what Noni does. He has a couple of good games."
In what sense?
Shows a bit of leg, but there's no G and there's no end product. So we're two. I'm backing this guy. I think he could be our most important signing of the season, purely because he's taking minutes and covering exactly what you just said. He's not Saka, never will be Saka. I'm not buying into this nonsense of, will Saka get his place back? Or fuck off. Or then you are, but then you have got options during game, and they did try it in the open training session. Saka on the left. At points, Noni on the right. At points, I don't think you'd ever start a game with Saka on the left, but this is what you're looking at now. This attacking group that we've got, where they can come on, they can interchange, they can rotate. You can drop Marino. I mean, Marino had a fantastic game.
He was combining and playing football, which I don't usually see him doing from left.
He looked, and I think that was again a nod from a bit of Arteta to go, you thought I was going conservative against Liverpool with playing Marino. Well, I'm going to play him at home, and then it's just on the back of 4 goals.
He referenced that in his presser.
Yeah, and I think he will. It's good actually to see Arteta's getting a bit. He's spiky, okay, but I think he's putting little nods back to people and going, "Oh, okay, you said that." Well, but he's actively bringing it up now. Whereas I think he'd always, depending on question you asked him, I think he seems to be going for, some of the analysis about this was that, you thought that. So he's always referencing it. So it was just good to see the defence play really, really well. And then you've got these players like Gyökeres, Eze and Noni forming that relationship that will only get better going forward. The more that they combine. So yeah, it may be a bit harsh for me about the end product from Noni, but it is so encouraging to see what his ability to drop the shoulder, and he's so direct. But did you see Keown's questioning to him after the game?
No.
So there was Keown was there on TNT, and he had Eze and Noni there, and he sort of said to Noni, "Oh, I wasn't sure about you when you was joined because I thought you was a bit selfish."
Okay.
And you see Eze, and you see it's quite a direct thing to say. It's the sort of thing you'd say in the studio.
But if you're Martin Keown, you've kind of earned that right? So...
And he's like, he was quite blunt about it. But then obviously the lot of the clickbait stuff is Martin Keown directs. You can't believe what Martin Keown said to and Eze's face is almost like, I can't believe you just asked that. Seriously, his head goes like that, and he's like, and anyway, he says, yeah, well, some of your decision making used to be, I wasn't a bit sure, a bit selfish.
Oh wow! Okay, I need to watch that.
Yeah, watch it. But fair play to Noni. Those two together, they're a couple of diamonds. They're a couple of good Christian boys. They're very respectful. They're very media trained. They did it. He could have bit on that, but it was like, no, yeah, maybe I did make quite self-reflective and said, yeah, well, I'm here. All I want to do is be direct, and I want to beat my fullback every single time. And maybe I do need to make a bit more or fight, because I think that was the accusation of him at Chelsea, was that it would all about him doing his own thing. But if you've only got Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson in that side, then maybe he didn't have the options to find. But yeah, it's so encouraging for Noni. And do you think it is ridiculous the old Saka won't get back in the team? But yeah, it's really good to see.
But again, it's another thing where, depending on his recovery, we just don't need to rush him, right? I mean, I think we're probably all thinking, can he play against City? But I back Noni against whoever plays at left back for Man City. I do not worry about them defensively. And I know we said we'll talk about them on Friday, but we got Greg in the chat who says he thinks we'll beat City next week. They weren't that good. So, we'll see. We'll get onto that. But you mentioned about new relationships, and I'm conscious we're about half an hour in, and we haven't spoken about the man that was at the base of midfield, scored a worldie, scored a header. First time that trio of Zubimendi, Marino, and Odegaard has started a game in, I want to say, I can't even remember, but since Real Sociedad days, 5 years.
About 4 years,
so,
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, we knew what a good player he would be, and we spoke about him before, but adding goals is always welcome. And first one, maybe I'm going over the top. The first one, fair enough. It took a slight defection. It was a little bit central, but it's the technique on it, the way he just tries to catch it nicely, through the ball, foot over the ball. Foot through the ball, sorry, and just caress it in, rather than just trying to smack it. So, I thought he was really good as well, and great to see him.
Yeah, he was so good, and he was just not. He wasn't just sitting there taking the ball off the fullback of the centre backs. He was dropping, making the extra man. He had a nice little combo with Nwaneri. Such a smart player, knows where's the pockets of spaces at all times. So he's one where I'd love just to have what they used to have on Sky, where you used to have a player cam.
Oh yeah, just watch him,
and you just
little
watch
sat
him
nav.
Just watch him the whole game. And I'd love to have the ability to do that, because there's so many. Certainly, I'd have one on him, but it's. But the problem we do have, he's not going to be able to play every single minute of every single game. So we are. Going forward, there are going to be times where we do need to rotate and rest him, and I don't think there's another player in our squad that is able to do with the amount of influence what he does. So that will be a concern going forward. But
what's that, mate?
So I would be. I mean, that would be my concern if he did. That would be our. I wouldn't even go down that line of him getting an injury, but you need to start, and that's why he was obviously, no, Norgard is not Zubimendi, but we need to start taking minutes off of him if possible. So,
and I want to say, Norgard definitely trained last week. Was he in the squad?
No, he wasn't in the squad. No, he wasn't in the squad, but he trained. So maybe I think that might be a bit too soon for tomorrow if he wasn't in the squad. But then there's always going to be someone dropped out of the squad, aren't there? So there's always going to be a player that's not even making the bench. I think Clake's internet's gone.
Good old technical difficulties. Yeah, we're back.
No worries, mate. Yeah, cool.
Good.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I think, go on.
Last thing I heard you say was about Zubimendi, and obviously there's no really in the squad that can do what he does without Norgard. And I was just saying, I can't remember if Norgard was in the squad on Saturday, but I definitely know he trained towards the end of the week.
Yeah, I was just saying that it was. There's always going to be players that are not going to even make that squad anymore, so we can't necessarily base that on whether they're fit or not. But on this case, I think he's just coming back, so maybe it was one squad too soon. Maybe he will travel. So it would be the ideal time, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, is there anything else you want to reference or talk about before we get into the Bilbao preview?
Yeah, let's go for Bilbao. Or Athletic.
So, yeah, Athletic Club. But yeah, ladies and gents, if you're in the chat, let us know what you think the predicted lineup will be for tomorrow's game against Bilbao. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how we manage the squad. I remember last year he tended to do it where there was like 1 to 3 changes per match day, and I really liked seeing them as well. He did it the year before as well. The first time in, I remember we'd see Tomiyasu here and there, Zinchenko swap out with a Kivior. So I'm really intrigued to see it. But like, what made me think about how he manages tomorrow and City is the subs, right? Like, so on Saturday, I don't know what the deal is with Odegaard, to be honest, but I imagine he won't be risked. We'll see. I haven't seen Arteta's presser or anything.
Why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you? And it almost gives him, it doesn't give him an excuse, but it does give him an excuse not to play Odegaard. I think Marino will play. No, but actually, sorry, we'll get there. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, all good. Yes, obviously, we don't know the deal with Odegaard. Like you say, we'll talk about Marino, but subs-wise, Calafiori, Gyökeres went off early, 68 minutes. Lewis Skelly, Declan Rice came on. And then in the 78th, 79th minute, our 2 wingers went off, Madueke and Eze, and Martinelli Trossard came on. So, I mean, Dauman didn't even come on. We had Ben White, Hincapié, they were also on the bench. So, like I said, I need to fact check whether I was correct on Ben White not training or not ahead of Bilbao, but it'll be interesting to see what he does. But where I was going with that is he rotated some of the minutes through starters and finishes on Saturday. Bilbao away. I mean, let's have a quick look to see how they got on. We obviously beat them in pre-season, but I can't remember how they got on the weekend. I can check that right now. They lost 1-0, it looks like, to Deportivo Alaves. So they've played 4. They've won 3, lost 1 in their domestic league so far. But I'm not too familiar with their lineup to see whether they rotated or not. I mean, I saw Nico Williams wasn't in the squad on the weekend. It looks like he's got a muscle injury and it's saying he should be back around late September. So that's one to keep an eye on. But going back to it, we've got a few days to Man City on Sunday and then it's Port Vale. And I think Port Vale's the one where you're not going to see a Gyökeres. You're not going to see those areas where despite our squad depth, we still only have one natural player in that position. I don't think you'll see them at Port Vale. So I almost think you will see Norgard at Port Vale. Zubimendi will still get the next 2. So
yeah.
I'm really. Should we go into it? What do you think the lineup will be? Do you want to just go back to front, keeper to strikers?
Yeah, I'll go. Well, you're going to start with Raya. You're not going to give. There's no reason to start with Kepa, is there? Because
I think he'll be a Port Vale keeper, won't he?
That's a Port Vale. Yeah, that's your Port Vale keeper. There's a school of thought though. I'd like to see Ben White back, because I'd like to rest Timber. So it's either a case of play I think it'll be Miles on the left because
Yep.
I think he needs minutes just to keep him involved. So I just want or Hincapié, but I think that could be too soon. I'd like to wouldn't mind seeing that actually. To be fair, but that would be a big decision. But I think Miles will get that. Then it'll be Gabriel, Mosquera, Timber. But I would like to see Timber get a rest ahead of City, and then you go in Zubimendi. I'm not then Eze, Noni. I'm thinking. My dilemma is it Marino up front?
I thought the same, but then because of Odegaard, I think Marino will come in for Odegaard, and it'll be Zubimendi, Rice, Marino.
That's the thing. That's it, yeah. I could see. I mean, unless you start again, there's a case of where you start with both of them, and then you just drop. Gyökeres comes off, and then you've got Marino goes up top, depending on
I think
the game state.
The other thing as well, right, is as much as we're in our head thinking of rotation and maximizing everyone, it's still the first match day of the Champions League. Yes. And people like Gyökeres have come here wanting to rip the shirt off someone.
True.
And I think he is not going to let the manager rest him. I think he got subbed in the 68th minute. And I just think starting match day Champions League, he wants to be Arsenal's number 9. He's gone at number 14. He wants to put that ball in the back of the net in San Sebastian. Yeah. And that's what makes me think the Odegaard injury, like he can go Waneri. I just think he'll use Waneri more in the home games and stuff to start. Like when I say start, I mean in this first phase. In this first phase of the season. And I think he'll go with Marino, just thinking about the things he said about the rhythm and stuff like that. And it's as a result why I also think it will be the same wingers again. I don't think you rest a Madueke when he's in this rhythm. And I think similarly, you give Eze another chance to build up that fluidity, relationships and rhythm with everyone. And it's funny, we've got Nathan in the chat who said, with the quality of Eze, I'm convinced we should swap Yildiz for Martinelli, but I'm not quite sure about that. But it shows how far, unfortunately, Gabby's stocks have fallen. And I don't think Gabby is got. I think historically, I would have thought, he'll get the Champions League this week. But with what he did at Anfield, I think he's probably down the pecking order for a Port Vale appearance at the minute.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Is like Noni and Eze of not Champions League is. It's all about that, isn't it? They both of them, neither of them have played in it before. So they even went for reference in their interview with when Keown was there. They was like looking forward to the chat, and it's like, that's what we want to. That's the level that we want to play at. So. First game away. You do not want to start the campaign with a loss on the road, because that we you almost want to put these games to bed as quick as possible, or the whole format as possible. So you do rest. You may be able to rest at the end. So it will be. I think it'll be the same way. I think it'll be what we said. It'll be Marino, Rice, Zubimendi. And it'll be the same 3. So the only one I could possibly see the rotation wise then would be Miles for Calafiori, and possibly Hincapié, and then if I'd quite like to see White play, but that's the fitness.
So I've just found it's a guy called Alex Howell on X at I am Alex Howell said Ben White did not train today with Arsenal. Currently has a minor issue. We'll ask Mikel Arteta about it this evening. So I think if White was fit and if Saliba hadn't had this knock, we would have maybe seen. Sorry, I think if Saliba was around, we would have maybe seen Saliba, Gabriel, Mosquera right back. Just to give some minutes off Timber. I think if White was available, we would have seen Timber have a little bit of a rest, White starting, Timber finishing. But I'm torn on left back. And I'm also like, do I think it's completely out of the question for him to play a Calafiori or a Hincapié at right centre-back to put Mosquera at right? But I don't think he will.
Yes,
but
true. Yeah.
We have seen him do stuff like that before. We've seen him. I can't remember what game it was. Rice played right centre back in one Champions League game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Because I do think it would be nice for Gabriel to also have a breather, but I just don't think he'll go and do that with Saliba as well. So I also think it will be Miles at left back for this game with Eze on the left. So I'm going Raya, Timber annoyingly, but just because I think we might have to. Mosquera, Gabriel, Miles, Lewis, Skelly, Zubimendi, Rice, Marino pressing with Gyökeres up top in that 4-4-2 out possession, and then Madueke and Eze either side of Gyökeres. And I think it'll one of them. We look to try go 2-3-0 up, hook Gyökeres off, get Zubimendi off. Can we try and get some minutes into like a Norgard if he's in the squad? Get one area on there.
Even a Hincapia. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So we've got similar lineups. What are you thinking score-wise? You mentioned it. It's a good time to try and get off the mark because then we've got Olympiacos next, and I think that we should be targeting 6 points from there, and then just kind of see where the league phase is at as the fixtures.
I'm going 2-0.
2-0 away win.
Yeah, 2-0 away win.
Is that a comfortable 2-0?
Yeah, comfortable. Well, I think do you know what? I'm just looking at our defence. We conceded 22 shots against Manchester United in the first game. And since we've then only conceded 22 shots since that game, in all 3 games. So we've really tightened up. And I just look at our defence, I just think it's the best in Europe. And I'm confident now that you can go to these Champions League games. The home team is always going to have, they're back there in the Champions League. There's a bouncing stadium. It's going to be lively. You're going to have to soak it up. But I think we're mature enough now, after 2 years of being in competition, we know how to approach these games now. And it's not a one-off game. We are much more mature, and we're got a bit more up there that we can deal with any adversity that happens. So yeah, I'd go comfortable 2-0. There's going to be moments. There's going to be some tackles and some great saves. Hopefully 2-0.
I would think similarly if we were at home. I just think remember that Lens game where, I don't know, in Europe, teams in the Champions League, teams tend to take more risks. They tend to go for it. We seem to always be on the end of these unlucky goals that are low probability, but they seem to get one in. They have got individual players that can do stuff. So I just think they will score a goal from somewhere, but I think we'll win fairly comfortably. I'll go 3-1, but would not be surprised if it's a 4. I think we'll put on a bit of a show in periods, and I think we'll do well. But unfortunately, I think they'll score. But yeah, I'm going 3-1 to the Arsenal. You're going 2-0. Fingers crossed we're both right with the result, but we will leave it there. We're trying to keep it to sub 45 minutes today, where we recapped the Forest game more at a high level than what we usually like to do, and obviously touched on the predicted lineups, what to expect with Bilbao with our score prediction. So hope you all enjoyed it. It was good to be back. We'll be back on Friday to then look at how we got on in San Sebastian tomorrow night, and we will preview the Man City game on Friday. We haven't confirmed the time, but as always, we'll tweet it out. Ladies and gents, we'll leave it there. Uncle Mike, thanks for your time as always.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good one. Up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.